Welcome back to the unseen world. We're all chasing that one thing, the cinematic look. Soft, glowing highlights, rich color separation, dynamic range that holds every subtle detail, even in the darkest shadows. But here's the twist. This shot, it wasn't filmed with a cinema camera. It wasn't even captured with a cine lens. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what separates a videographer from a cinematographer, and how you can achieve that cinematic look even in the most challenging conditions. This entire scene was shot in a tiny, cramped bathroom. Not exactly a filmmaker's dream location. It meant I had to create atmosphere with minimal gear and make sure I didn't flood the place while filming myself. If you want to become a great cinematographer, the very first skill you need to master is lighting control. That means not just accepting the light that's already there, but shaping it, sculpting it, and introducing light intentionally to create the mood you want. And just so you know, none of the products I mention here are sponsored. They're simply tools I use and trust. I started with my key light, the budget-friendly small rig RC60B. Instead of blasting it straight at the subject, I bounced it off the top corner of the ceiling. That gave me a soft, natural top-down light, the kind you'd expect from daylight sneaking through a small window or a bathroom fixture, and it created a beautiful gradient across the body. I set it to 3200K and added a mini softbox with a grid to control spill. That bounce and diffusion combo is key to achieving that soft fall-off we associate with cinema lighting. The overhead angle also added a subtle, natural vignette, something I loved about the shot. For my fill, I used another RC60B placed diagonally in the opposite corner. Its only job was to gently lift the shadows, preserving detail in the darker areas. I fitted it with a reflector dish and set it to 6500K, much cooler than the key light. That warm skin tone against the cool background tiles creates beautiful color separation and visual depth, especially in minimalist spaces. One of the most striking details here is the water. Those droplets on the subject's back only pop because of how the light is shaped. Under normal bathroom lighting, they'd look flat and lifeless. But by placing the light slightly to the side, I created contrast and depth that highlight every drop beautifully. Here's a pro tip. Front lighting makes water disappear. Side lighting makes it come alive. On the shadow side, I added negative fill to absorb unwanted bounce from the opposite wall. This deepened the shadows and boosted contrast without losing too much detail, thanks to the ambient light in the room. Finally, I hazed the space. That extra layer softens the light even more and adds a dreamy, cinematic atmosphere, especially noticeable in the fall-off and around the frame edges. Let's talk grading. I did all the color work in Final Cut Pro, but you can easily follow the same steps in DaVinci Resolve or Premiere Pro. I'm not a professional colorist, and this was a quick grade, but here's the process I followed. First, I converted the S-Log3 footage to Rec. .709 to get a contrasty base with a touch more saturation. It still looked a bit muted, mostly because of the haze. Then I applied Dehancer Pro, not sponsored, though I do have a discount code. I chose Kodak Vision 3250D for the film stock and Kodak 2383 for the print emulation. Then used the Expand tool for punchier contrast. Next, I added subtle film grain for an organic feel, plus halation and bloom to give highlights that cinematic glow around the edges. In the hue versus hue curve, I nudged the blues slightly toward green and used hue versus sat to reduce saturation gently. Finally, I warmed up the skin tones, pushing them toward orange and increasing saturation to make them pop against the cooler background. Here's the gear and setup I used. A Sony A7S III with a 50mm G master lens, a 1/8 Pro mist filter, and an ND filter. My picture profile was S-Log3S Gamut 3.cine. I shot at 25 frames per second with a shutter speed of 1/50th, ISO 640, and an aperture of f/1.3. Wide open. Now look at these two frames. Same room, same camera, same lens. The difference? One was lit and graded with intention. And that's the heart of cinematography. Even the smallest choices matter. Move a hand slightly to the left, and suddenly a white wall blocks those water streaks. Frame just a little off-center using the rule of thirds, and the composition feels more cinematic. Add an anamorphic crop in post, and you're building that big screen feel shot by shot. All these deliberate decisions transform an ordinary shot into something truly cinematic. And once you understand that intention is everything, you realize you can make almost anything look like it belongs on the big screen. Would you have guessed this was all shot on a Sony a7S III with a standard photo lens? Didn't think so. Thanks for watching. If you found this breakdown helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe to The Unseen World, and turn on notifications so you never miss future cinematography tips and tutorials. I'll see you in the next one. Victory hand.